for discussion and debate, except for the drama and the hate. Let's chop it up.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the Peachy Room podcast. Tonight, we're going to be talking to two of the greats in the real estate business right now, in my mind, in my opinion. We're going to go over the process of buying a home, getting a home loan, looking for a home, and the whole process. We have Marcus Monroe, a longtime childhood friend and still a friend of mine, one of my best friends from outdoor. I have him on the line, and we also have a relative, my brother-in-law, Anthony Beall. Used to Tavares Bulldog, I guess, from the other side over there, but we still love him. But guys, I just want to give you a chance to introduce yourselves to the audience here before we get started, and tell us a little about what you do. We'll start with Marcus first.
Okay. How you doing? I'm Marcus Monroe. I'm a realtor for Realty Hub out of Orlando, Florida. As far as with the process of real estate, I would say, just to jump right into it, I would say the first thing that an individual needs to do is find out or figure out what it is that they want out of a property. So with that being said, once you know that, okay, whether you want to invest, you just want to purchase for your home, you want to, do something for your family, what have you, because a lot of times people have different purposes of why they want to purchase. You first want to figure that thing out first. Then I'll bring Anthony in to actually go over the mortgage process with you, so you can understand what you need to bring to the table as far as being able to move forward with the financial part. Mm-hmm. I've been doing real estate for about 4 years. I started back in 2004. When it comes to doing real estate, as we know, the market went up and down, so I got out. But I came back in 2019. Back in 2019, Brittany Beall, which is Cedric Scott's sister, reached out to me, said, hey, my husband Anthony does mortgages. And we had a long conversation about the goal of what we want to do for the community.
Right.
And with that goal was understanding exactly, what people, like I just prefaced with, what people want to do before just throwing them in the home.
Right.
So I just wanted to, give that small introduction so you can understand, like, okay, what direction we're going with this.
All right. Anthony Beall.
Anthony.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anthony Beall, mortgage loan officer with Bay Equity Home Loans. Been in the mortgage and finance industry for 10 plus years, and work hand in hand with my realtor Marcus currently. And my job, in a nutshell, is to provide, help my clients with the biggest purchase in their financial life. This is one of the biggest purchases that they're going to make in a lifetime, I consider it. And I try to make it as easy as possible and, help them through the process and making sure they're ready for the responsibilities of being a homeowner.
Definitely.
And with that, there's a lot of details in it, but I try to take out the hard stuff and break it down and just make the whole process seamless.
Right.
And as easy as possible.
All right. I guess, guys, we can start. You can use me for example. If what is the first thing I would need to do if I want to buy a home? I made my mind up. I may think I have good credit. I may not think I have enough credit. what is the first thing on the checklist that I would need to do to start this process? Who do I contact first, and why?
Okay, so I'll step in. First step is contacting the loan officer, your bank, local credit union, or myself as a loan officer, and coming up with a game plan. Find out what your goals and wants are is the first step, and then the second step would be, to complete an application. A lot of times, clients are scared of getting their credit pulled or scared of the process itself.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know where you got to go until you actually have a plan set.
Right.
So the first step is contacting your loan officer, establishing your goals and wants, and then complete an application. So I'll do an interview with my client and just sit down with them and find out what their wants and goals are prior to even doing the application.
Right.
And making sure it's the right fit for me and whatever agent I'm working with. The next step, is complete the application. Standard 1003 application. We'll pull your credit and find out exactly where you are. We pull from the tri-merge credit report, so we pull all 3 credit scores, and we take your middle score is what's going to qualify you.
Okay.
From there, if a client has not the best credit, then we come up with a game plan. I partner with multiple credit repair companies and people in the industry, so we can, set up another meeting where we can talk about, the steps that you need to take to rebuild their credit and get them into qualifying score. So for me, the ball don't stop once they have a bad credit score. I set them up with a game plan to get them into the home ownership.
Okay. And speaking on a credit score, what is a qualifying credit score? Because like you said, some people are scared to even get their credit pulled, or think they'll go years thinking, I don't have credit, I don't have good credit. But I don't want to say what is the bare minimum, but what is a score that could get you in a home?
Now, with everything that's going on with the COVID-19, a lot of banks and bigger companies are basically changing their guidelines. So the minimum credit score right now, at least for my company, is 620 credit score or higher.
Okay.
Prior to the corona coming out, we were doing as low as 580 credit scores, and in some cases, we can get below 580 and still get on qualified.
Okay.
So 580 is really on the low end. Anything below that, we found ways to make it work.
Okay.
As of right now, the minimum credit score the client should have is around 620 or higher.
620 or higher. Okay. All right. So we pulled the application. Say we got a 620 credit score as of right now today, and is this where Marcus comes in as far as the next step, or is it another?
Not yet. I actually take it a few steps further. I actually go ahead and I start gathering all the documentation, and not every bit of documentation I gather, but just the standard docs will be income verification, W-2 forms, tax returns. I'll pull their credit. I'll gather their assets, their bank statements, making sure they have enough funds to keep the process moving.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another discussion that we can have. What's the difference between being pre-qualified and pre-approved?
All right.
I like to get my clients pre-approved. That way, I know when I pass them off to Marcus, they're not going to have a problem getting under contract.
Okay.
So I gather all the documentation, I'll analyze it, I'll do their income calculation, and make sure that they're truly qualified to purchase a home based on their wants and needs. And then I'll generate a pre-approval letter, which then I will pass the baton over to Marcus with the pre-approval letter with the client. That way they're ready to go out and start shopping and find their dream home.
All right. So, Marcus, you picked the ball up at this point.
Yes. So basically, once Anthony hands the client over to me, got the pre-approval letter, then, like I was saying earlier, is figuring out what does the client want. A lot of times people are have some information about real estate. Oh, I want to buy a foreclosed home. I want to buy a short sale. Something they've heard as far as someone's previous deal. But one thing that everyone must understand is that every deal is individual. No two people will ever have the same credit score, nor assets, nor debt to income ratio. So with that being said, that's where, depending upon what those items look like, with Anthony determines what direction that we can go with purchasing a home. When you're thinking about foreclosures, you're thinking about, there could be some additional items that are out there that we don't know about, and that can put things in a compromised situation. And let me give you an example. With a foreclosed property, a person probably hasn't been paying their mortgage. Well, it's less likely if a person hasn't been paying their mortgage, they haven't paid their HOA fee. They're not paying those property taxes. Because no one is going to choose to avoid making that payment to the bank, but hey, let me go ahead and make these property taxes and pay this HOA. So the next person that's coming to buy will be, in a better situation. So it's what they want to purchase. All right. Once we figure out what they want to purchase, now we can start looking at the homes within their price range that Anthony has given you. Something that is affordable. Because one thing that Anthony and I do, we have a full consultation to both of us, in which if you tell me, hey, look, man, I can't go above $1,200 a month. All right. So now Anthony has a price point, and he does a great job at getting people at that price point that they can afford per month at the highest dollar amount that can be loaned to them. So the process that Anthony and I use, we make sure that the numbers look right first before throwing you into a home. Because everyone would love to stay in a $300,000 house.
Right.
The question is, are you ready to pay for it?
Right.
So by the process and the way that we approach things, once we get the numbers, now we go out, look at this various homes, and everything that you look at, you know that you can afford. So when you are taking your family out, when the kids are excited about the house, you know that you can pay for it.
Right.
You know that, hey, this is within my means. I'm not going over X, Y, and Z budget that I've set with Anthony. And it's a smooth situation. Once we, locate a few homes that you are interested in, we go out and see them. Once we take a look at the homes, we kind of do a mini home inspection at the same time. Because sometimes we be so ready to move to where we might be looking at a property that could create more problems down the line.
Right.
So if we go to the home, we see some issues, we're going to have that conversation while we're at that home. Hey, this is going to have a future roof issue. This is going to have a future plumbing issue. So we kind of like weed those out first. Once we start negotiating for a contract, that's when, I'll make sure that we get the best deal possible. And something that Anthony and I have, started is, well, more so, I make sure that, we put this information out there, the deals that we get people. Because, it's good to see a person, closing, but the expertise that the both of us bring is in the deal. Right. Is what kind of deal did they get this new homeowner?
Right.
Because, again, Anthony can be, throwing numbers, people can be stressed out, but he doesn't work like that. Neither do I. So we put these deals out so people know the type of business that we're actually doing. Not only we're helping people, but also getting them the best deal to get into this property.
Right.
So, of course, with the realtor, I take care of the inspections, and that's when Anthony comes, pretty much back into play, help with the appraisal, sending out, loan commitments and things of that nature.
Okay. Now, you mentioned doing an inspection. What are the things you look for while you're doing an in-home inspection? I mean, I've been through inspections before and had appraisals done, but if you can kind of explain that process of it, like what to look for as you're looking at a house, just keep an eye out for.
Yes. All right. So the major areas you want to pay attention to: electrical, plumbing, structure, and roof. Right. You should never want a property unless you're in a different situation, and that's why I preface with is what that individual set out to do. Because an investor, he doesn't care. He's probably looking at it as a dollar amount. Oh, I can pay 50 grand. I'm gonna put in 20. I already got my crew. I'm gonna flip this out. But when you're talking about you're purchasing it for yourself or for your family, it's two ways to look at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing it for self, 9 times out of 10, when a person is doing it for self, they say, I just want to get in this house, stay 2 years, I'm flipping it, so I can use those funds to buy something else. All right? That's one type of situation. But when you're buying it for your family, do not compromise on those areas. Roof, electrical, plumbing, or structure. Never compromise. Why? Because your intention of purchasing this home is for your family to live in for X amount of time. For anything, I would say, over 5 years, don't ever compromise on those areas.
All right.
Now, the additional things that you will be concerned about once you go into the home, one, cleanliness. If a person is not keeping the house clean now, imagine what's really behind the wall. Imagine how the condition of this home really is. So some of the things that, we would point out while walking through the home during an initial showing is to make sure that what we've seen on the pictures actually looks like, in reality, it looks just that good.
Right.
Sometimes you get surprised. Do certain things. So it's a case-by-case situation. And again, everything is always going to point back to what their main goal is with purchasing real estate.
Right.
So that question, would determine, how everything else on the line. Even with working with Anthony, if a person is doing a second home, well, now it goes down a different loan product. So, and that can, without derailing this conversation, we can keep that on ice for another conversation. But let's just, for the sake of this initial breakdown, you purchase it for yourself or you purchase it for your family. You want to make sure that the home is intact.
Right. Okay. All right. So let me take you down this avenue. I'm an investor, and I'm just looking for a house to invest in. The house is in foreclosure. It needs a roof. It has bad plumbing. What would be your suggestion to me as an investor?
Okay. I know Anthony would definitely chime in on this one, and I'll tee it up for him. The first thing that an investor want to think about is, man, what are my assets? Because you got to think about a rate of return, right?
Right.
You got to figure out what area. And this is my side of the wheelhouse, where we got to figure out what area are you purchasing in. Because if you're already buying it at a high price point, and this is not a hot market, you're going to waste your money.
Right.
Why? Because it's not a hot market. You're going to purchase this home. You're going to invest $20 to $30 to $40, maybe $40,000, but we're not going to be able to flip this property as fast as you need it, depending upon the loan product that you will actually obtain from Anthony, if you're using a loan product. Because some investors use hard money. Now, when you're talking about a cash buyer, different situation. And I'll let Anthony go over the financial aspect of it, of what he would, discuss with an investor when it comes to the funding part, because that determines a lot.
Okay. All right, Anthony.
Right. So, like, if you're doing an investment property,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be putting, especially if you're doing it not as a cash purchase and you're financing it,
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at a larger down payment. So you're looking at 15 to 20% down of the purchase price.
Okay.
You're going to be a standard conventional loan, and the process for that is a little bit different. So it's not your primary residence, so you're not going to be living in a home. So you're looking at it to either flip the house, like Marcus says, or you're looking to rent it out.
Right.
So you're going to have a bigger initial investment in the home, especially if the home needs repairs.
Okay. All right. So
that's just a standard investment loan. You're looking like 15-20% down automatically.
Okay.
And in some cases, a little bit more, depending on the type of home.
All right. So I'll flip the script now, and I'm looking for a home for my family. I want to stay within a $1,200 to $1,300 a month range. The market that I'm looking in, or the area that I'm looking in, is pretty much is right at or either over where I need to be. Are there ways to get around that? If I find a house that I really love, I fall in love with it, but it's a little bit out of my range, is there a way to kind of get around that, or would you guys recommend someone in those situations I know you ran into that to look elsewhere, to keep looking around, or is it something that can be worked out on an end like that?
Is the mortgage side or just on the purchasing side?
Well, on the purchasing side.
Okay. I'll answer that since it's on the purchasing side. So once you've spoken with Anthony, or if you come with your own loan originator,
mm-hmm.
if you already have a pre-approval for a particular dollar amount per month that you want to stay within,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to encourage you to stick to the budget that you and your family have decided to stick with. Because the truth of the matter is, no one wants to purchase a home and feel that they're killing themselves just to pay for a house. You'll never have peace.
Right.
There'll never be any love or joy in the house, because why? You're going to work every day, suffering just to pay for a house.
Right.
So never want to overextend anyone to do that. But in your comment or in your question, you stated, hey, you're really in love with this home.
Right.
So then it will go to a different conversation. We'll, as far as myself and the client, we'll discuss, where you are with your career.
Mm-hmm.
Once we discuss where you are with your career, to see if there's any room for advancement. If there's any room for advancement, I'm going to encourage you to let's wait it out, so you can put yourself in a better financial situation. Because a lot of times we do want to jump because we have that initial emotional connection to whatever it may be, a car, a house, or what have you. But that's not always the right case. One thing Anthony and I don't do, we don't put people into situations that they're not going to afford after the fact. Because at the end of the day, that person's just going to resent the work that we've invested. So we have a bigger goal to put people from, the community, our ethnicity, as well as, help people actually obtain properties that they can afford, and not just to throw you in something just to get the sale. And that's what has allowed us to be successful, and individuals, being able to share with others the work that we've been able to do to help them get into something that they can afford and nice. If you take a look at any of the properties that we put up, no one is going into anything that is not nice.
Right.
We want to make sure that we put them into, a well-kept home. So there's always going to be a home that fits your budget. It just depends on what the person is willing to come to, right? Because again, you can't have, like the old saying, you can't have the wine taste with the beer possible. So we got to stay within our means, but we definitely, within whatever range that you have, we try to find the best property in that range, and that's what we do as a team.
All right, Anthony, you have anything on that from the loan side?
Yeah, I'll just chime in on that as well. The biggest thing, like Marcus said, is sticking to your budget and knowing what you can truly afford. I always practice responsible lending, so I won't put somebody in the house that I know they can't afford. And there's all kinds to make the deal work. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be comfortable in the home. Stepping outside the budget, and we're doing a disservice to the client.
Okay, we have a question from the live here. Young lady says, how much should you expect to pay for closing costs? Or was that all determined on the price of the home or the loan? How's that determined?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into the closing cost. And Marcus can chime in on it as well. From the time we go into contract, you can be negotiating seller concessions that can help contribute towards the closing costs. There's multiple loan programs out there, and I'm talking about we have access to 40 plus loan programs that come with down payment assistance programs as well. So, and also to determine the type of loan that they're going to be going into. There's, for example, a USDA loan does 100% finance if there's no down payment. However, there is closing costs. And on average, I would say the closing costs range anywhere between 3 and 5% of the purchase price.
Okay.
Now, the buyer is not going to be solely responsible for all that, depending on, if it's a new construction, if it's resale, if the sellers are paying seller credits towards the transaction. So it can be minimal or it can be, a significant amount, depending on the price of the home. I've had clients where they went in to, buy a home and all they paid was a $500 appraisal out of pocket and a $500 earnest money deposit on the homes. They didn't have to pay closing costs. They didn't have a down payment. So every situation is going to be a little bit different, and that's my job is to find the right product and program for the client based on what they have available, and put them in the right program, and we can figure out a way to make everything else work.
All right.
But sticking to the straight closing costs, I mean the average, you can just use the average 3 to 5% of the purchase price, and then we go from there.
Okay. All right. This is a lot different from just listening to you guys work. I guess you've been working together. You got a certain plan you got going on, but it's a lot different from buying a car. I've ran into, and I'm pretty sure other people have ran into car salesmen that I heard Marcus say several times, we're not trying to get you into something. We want to get you the best deal possible and to make sure it's something you can pay for. So that's big on my end. I mean, that speaks volumes for, and it also speaks for the amount of work you guys have been able to put together, and loans that you're closing. So big ups for that. What's another area we can touch on that may be sort of a hiccup? Say someone loses their job in the process of being pre-approved. Something comes down, for instance, we can take COVID-19. If I'm pre-approved, I'm in the process of looking for a house, and I get laid off. Is that the end of the deal? I mean, is that pretty much a deal breaker? I mean, how would something like that, or is it something like, without naming names, is that something you guys are dealing with now?
Well, fortunately, I haven't had to deal with any of my clients. Nowadays, a lot of people are able to work from home.
Correct.
So and I feel bad for the people that are losing their jobs and going, being furloughed. But to answer your question, if they're laid off, we have to come up with another game plan. We might have to put the transaction on hold. Without income coming in, then that would be irresponsible lending to put them in a home, knowing that they don't have any money coming in. So how are they going to make their mortgage payment at the end of the day?
Right.
So in the case that if we have one client and they're married, let's see if they're both laid off, then it's pretty much a done deal.
Right.
Until they go back to work and can provide sufficient income to qualify for the home.
Okay.
If it's one spouse that's only laid off, let's rerun the numbers and rework it and see if we can get them qualified in just one of the spouses' name, or let's see if we can add a co-borrower to the loan, to make it happen. So there's ways around. We just have to get kind of creative and make sure that they truly can afford it. But without any income, if they're just straight up laid off, there's pretty much nothing we can do at that point until they start back working.
Okay. All right.
One thing I do want to add, I totally agree with Anthony. But something that Anthony and I do is make sure, again, I want to reiterate this and then I'm going to explain it. We put people in the right situation. See, when it comes to mortgages, and Anthony can chime in on this if he would like. There's so many products. There's balloon payments. There's ARM. There's a lot of these products that sound good on the front end that really hurts people on the back end. One thing that Anthony and I make sure is that all of our clients are in the 30-year fix, which means what Anthony discussed with you as far as, hey, this is your monthly payment.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you set out to pay per month. It's pretty much going to stay in that range. The only way that it can, pretty much fluctuate is if you're in an area where your property taxes go up and down, goes up slightly or what have you. But for the most part, you're going to be in the ballpark that you want to be in. When it comes to other mortgage lenders that I've worked with before, working with Anthony back when I started back in 2004, if anyone know about the mortgage crash, well, the whole real estate industry crash, people will get into mortgages where they were on an owner. You go pay a small payment for X amount of years, jumped in the arms, it fluctuated on you. Interest rate change, balloon payment. So there's a lot of products, but it hurts individuals who are looking for the family situation. Now, those things work okay for investors who know, hey, I'm only going to be in this property for a short period of time, or someone that's just doing it for self. I just want to stay in the townhouse 2 years, make me 20, 30 grand off it or what have you. Okay, an ARM might work for your situation. But for the majority of individuals who reach out to myself, they're looking for family situations.
Right.
So with the family situation, we try to get everyone into the 30-year fix so you don't deal with those fluctuations. You won't have to come back 5 years later and say, hey, you guys tricked me. Or you put me in a loan product that is now going to push me and my family out the door. We don't do those things. So the 30-year fix is what you always want to aim for when you're speaking with any mortgage broker or loan originator to get a mortgage loan.
All right. And just to make it clear, I've heard of a balloon loan before, and that's when the actual mortgage goes up as the loan, as years go by, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right. Another question here, just from the live. If you're in the middle of your process and you're getting ready to close, and you switch jobs, does that affect the loan?
It may not affect the loan per se, as long as we have, and it just depends on what type of employment they're going to. If you, for example, if you take a W-2 employee that's been, receiving a paycheck every 2 weeks, and the W-2 for the past 2 years, and then they all of a sudden quit their job and they open up their own business, and now they become self-employed. Now they really just shot themselves in the foot because self-employment is going to require a 2-year history.
Right. Okay.
So if it's, a client that's a W-2 going to a W-2, then there's not going to be a problem. All we need to do is, have him generate 30 days worth of pay stubs, and the transaction will continue to move forward.
All right. Now, what if
just when they switch? Oh, go ahead.
What if they say I'm making $40,000 a year, and I leave and go to a job? I mean, which is crazy to say. I go to a job and I'm making 25. I mean, my yearly salary changes. Does it affect? Does it have an effect on the loan? If I lose money?
Yeah, it definitely could, depending on the client's debt to income ratio.
Okay.
So when we calculate their income, based on the loan program, they have to, be under or within the guidelines of the program.
All
So,
right.
for example, if their debt to income is minimal, even with the decrease in pay, as long as they can still close the home, then we can still move forward. It's not going to impact them. But if they have a lot of debt, and now their debt to income just shot from a 45% up to 65%, then the likelihood of them buying that home is extremely low. They're either going to have to come up, put a larger down payment. Even in some cases, lower the loan amount that they're pre-qualified for or pre-approved for.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of factors that can go into it. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to buy a home just because their income decreased dramatically. It's just that they're going to only be able to buy what they can truly afford.
Right. Now, you mentioned debt to income ratio. Can you go into that and explain exactly what that is, what it entails, and explain the scale that you guys use for that?
So each loan product has its debt to income ratio guidelines. For example, on an FXA transaction, standard, I can go up to 55% debt to income ratio max on the back end. That's after counting all the debt. So the debt to income is anything that reports to the credit report or credit bureau as a payment is considered a debt. And then we calculate the gross monthly income that a person makes divided by all their debt, and that will give you the debt ratio. And then we calculate the full housing payment on top of that, so to make sure they're under the program's guidelines for the debt to income ratio. So it's just basically how much somebody makes versus how much debt they're paying out each month.
All right. Okay.
Conventional loans, they have a stricter guideline based on the credit scores. So we're talking about a maximum of maybe 50%, or in some cases 45%.
All right.
USDA, they only do a maximum of like 43% on the back end. So after everything included, so with the mortgage payment.
All right. All right. So what would be something else we can touch on as far as like I was saying, like hiccups that come up? I know I used the example for losing your job if you switch jobs. What are some of the things that people?
Some of the biggest ones.
All right, go ahead.
I would say we have a what's called a do's and don'ts checklist. And we send that out to every client to make sure they don't do anything that's gonna cause a mortgage not to go through. So some of the things I would say don't do is that we run into a lot is someone depositing cash into their bank account. Cash can't, and a lot of people don't like banks. They keep their cash at home, and then they'll go deposit it into the bank, before they're about to close. That can open up a big can of worms. And that cash transaction has to be sourced. Someone can't source where they got $5,000 under their bed mattress.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things is watching what's going in and out of the account. Don't open up any new credit cards or other accounts until after you close. Right. A lot of times, and I've seen it happen before, where somebody gets through, they got into contract, they think everything's good, they go out and start buying or opening up these credit cards and buying new furniture for the house, go out and buy a new car, and now 10 days before they close, we did a soft pull on their credit, and they have all these new open accounts, and their debt to income ratio shoots up sky high, and now they don't qualify for that mortgage anymore.
Man.
And it's dead at the closing table.
Man.
I want to chime in on a couple things that Anthony talked about. So number one, the why behind why you can't deposit large deposits. Real estate, a lot of fraud can be done with real estate. You can go into contracts and never see anyone. If you got, cash, you can do a lot of fraudulent things. Therefore, the bank has to make sure that these funds can be stored. So a lot of people do, can get frustrated. Hey, well, my mom gave me this money. My mom got money. My dad got money. That's understandable. But the bank needs to see that this money came from a reliable source.
All right.
To give you another topic that we also run into that I want to bring up, and it affects a lot of us in our community. Taxes. You got to do your taxes the right way in order to get a home. I get it. There's a lot of situations where we want to make sure, we get the most out of our taxes.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's time to submit those taxes to Anthony, you got to understand it's not just Anthony alone who will be looking at your taxes. See, once things get to an underwriter, the underwriter is going to take a fine-tooth comb to look through your entire situation. So Anthony and his team have to present you as the best possible client. But if there's, some issues that can possibly come up, because we run into some concerns when it comes to how someone has either filed their taxes, what their tax preparer has done, if there's a question, and I'll just leave it at that. Just make sure that, when you're moving towards purchasing a home, you file those taxes correctly. You don't want to put yourself in a compromised situation when it makes it to an underwriter.
Okay. I have another question here. If you filed bankruptcy, will you still be able to buy a home? Or how long would you have to wait to buy a home after you filed bankruptcy?
Yes, you can still buy a home with bankruptcy. You can still buy a home after foreclosures, short sales. There's just a seasoning time that they have to meet for a traditional loan product. For example, somebody files a bankruptcy and they want to buy, this conventional loan, they're going to have to wait 4 years after the bankruptcy's been completed. But there's so many programs out there that we can get somebody financed a day out of bankruptcy, a day out of short sale and foreclosures. So as long as it's been discharged and finalized, there's still financing out there available for people.
All right. That's good to know for people, man. That's real good to know. Another question I have here: is there a particular loan that's preferred for a first-time home buyer, or are there programs for that?
There's multiple programs out there. You have the Florida Bond that offers down payment assistance, will help with the down payment. There's I do a lot of deals through Chinoa Fund, and they basically cover the down payment as well. But it just depends basically what the client can afford.
Mm-hmm.
There is some lines with the down payment assistance. They need to have at least a 620 or higher credit score, and in some cases 640 or higher credit score. But yeah, to answer your question, there's first-time home buyer programs out there that can help with down payment and closing costs.
Okay. All right.
Lake County actually has a program that's through the SHIP program, called the SHIP.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for lower income families. But I know somebody that was getting $40,000 from the SHIP program to help them purchase a home. That was covering their down payment and the closing costs, and was able to buy the rate down.
Man.
So there's all kind of programs out there for people.
All right. What's the I guess the market, with the market being crazy now, what are the best times to buy, sell? Like right now, would you recommend anybody? I mean, you're in the business of selling houses and closing loans, so you would never tell anybody not to buy. I guess, is it a buyer's market right now, seller's market? Like, what are we staying right now with everything going on?
All right, I'll answer that question. right now it is a buyer's market because the opportunity for more individuals to get approved is definitely slim, right? Because once they raise credit score requirements and some of the other requirements that Anthony will need to discuss with a client to get them approved, then now there's less buyers on the market. Meaning sellers don't have that big picking anymore, right? So anytime an offer comes across the table, they have to take that offer serious. Not to say that a seller would not, but when it's a seller's market, you might get multiple offers, and then you can choose. So it's definitely a buyer's market. With that being said, whoever you decide to utilize as your realtor, as your mortgage loan officer, you still want to make sure they do due diligence in all areas. You want to make sure that you still get the best deal. And that's why, what Anthony and I do, we make sure that before we just go out and just start throwing out contracts, we want to make sure that it's the best situation for you. The second part of your question is the right time to sell. When it comes to individuals selling their property, it comes down to what is the goal, right? Someone could be in a situation, hey man, I done lost my job, I'm about to get foreclosed on. I'm moving. Things aren't working right in our relationship. We want to sell. It just depends upon the situation, whether I would tell an individual to sell. So let's address those. If someone has lost their job, and how I'm about to answer this is one of the reasons why purchasing a property is so important. Because if you bought a property, you've been in it for a length of time, you should have some equity in that property.
Right.
And if you're dealing with a small financial hardship, and if you have equity, because it's not a guaranteed situation that everyone's going to have equity in the property, right. Some factors determine, how much equity you have.
Right.
But if you have some equity, you have that opportunity to go to the bank and say, hey, you know what? I need to pull out $10,000 out of my house. I want an equity line of credit. You can pull out a certain amount of money that will help you and your family to be able to survive through the hardship. But the caveat that I always tell individuals, if you do that, let's say you pull out $10,000, you out for a month and a half, but you get a job. You only use $2,500. Make sure you take the $7,500, go throw it back in your house. That way now you only owe back the $2,500 back towards, the loan.
Right.
And that $75 is back towards your equity. Sometimes people have taken that money out the house, mismanaged, and now they're in a worse situation.
Right.
So everything is on an individual basis, and depending upon what a client is going through, I'll have an initial conversation, and then I'm gonna bring Anthony in so we can look at the best loan product that will possibly help them. Something else, and I would like Anthony to chime in on this part. Refinancing could be a help because when you refinance, it gives you the opportunity to get a lower payment. We'll extend the loan, but if you pay down a significant amount, you can say, hey, I don't need to take out no money, but right now things are a little tight. But I can manage by myself. Hey, if I was able to cut this mortgage payment down $300-400, me and my family will be able to stay in this property. Right. And that's when I'll bring Anthony into play and say, hey, Anthony, can you help them with a refinance? And if Anthony, you could chime in a little bit about the refinance process.
All right, so yeah, the refinance process is pretty much same as a purchase process, except for you're not looking for a home to buy. You already have the home. We're just going to analyze what your needs are, what your wants are. Are you looking to do a cash out refinance? Are you looking just to do a rate term refinance to lower your rate and payment? So whatever the client's goals are, that's what we cater to. We do cash out refinances. Somebody looking to take the equity out of their home and pay off some debt, or they're looking to invest in another home purchase or want to do upgrades to their home. Just depends on what they need and what they want.
All right.
But the goal is to obviously refinance the home and put them in a payment and an interest rate that's going to be beneficial to them. Because if they already have a low rate and and refinancing, and they're going to end up with a higher rate. Does that really make sense?
Right. Now, what's the difference between a cash out refi and what's the other one you said?
Rate term. So cash out is someone, for example, you own a home, it's worth $200,000, and your current balance on the home is $100,000. So you basically have $100,000 in equity sitting in your home.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody might take that money out, that extra $100,000 out, and go use that money to purchase a new home or an investment property, or they may want to build a swimming pool in their home. So, there's no, there's no specific reason why they have to do a cash out refinance. They can use that fund for anything that they want.
Okay.
You want to start up your own business. You want to use equity in your home. People can do that.
All right.
The other side is somebody looking to lower their interest rate. They've been in this home, maybe they purchased a home 10 years ago, and the rates were 6-7%. Now we're at an all-time low for interest rate, and they're at 3%, 4%. So cutting their rate down 2% is a big saving.
Okay.
Also, their payment's going to drop. So it might be more affordable for them. Their payment's going to drop. It could possibly drop a few $100s. Or they may be refinancing from a FHA loan to a conventional loan, and they want to get rid of their mortgage insurance.
All right.
So there's many reasons why somebody could want to refinance, just for the type of loan that they're in, the rate that they're in, or even the payment that they're in.
Okay. That's good stuff. Good stuff, man. I'm looking for more questions here. I don't think we have any more questions. Marcus, is there anything you want to touch on, or as far as just giving advice to people that are thinking about it or scared, even start this process?
Yes, I would. The number one thing that we got to realize is that a lot of people have fear because they just afraid to even find out something. You know, if you think about anything that a person wants to accomplish, either you're going to do it or you won't, and you'll never know whether you could have accomplished that goal. If you really know that you want to get a property, for whatever reason, at least have the conversation. I'm going to be honest, we have this forum, but it's, depending upon what a person would like to do, the conversation will go in so many directions. And one thing that Anthony and I do, we try to educate the people as much as possible before you move forward with anything. If anyone looks at, one of my cards that I have online, we always start with that financing. Find out exactly what it is that you can afford and what you're comfortable with. One thing I want to encourage everyone to think about it like this, right? Between buying and renting, you're running down the same line. You go and rent an apartment, your credit got to be full. You buy a house, your credit has to be full. You're ready to pay $1,200 in the rent payment, well, you can find a property paying that $1,200. You're worried about closing costs and down payment. Well, there's programs to help with that, let alone, sometimes you'll get that family support because you're moving forward in a better direction. But with an apartment, you got to come with first and last month rent. So if we're just doing simple arithmetic, you down $2,400 that you have to come up with. They pretty much run along the same line. It wouldn't hurt just to say, you know what? Let me at least try. Worst case scenario, Anthony, you can correct me. Pulling your credit because Anthony is a licensed mortgage loan originator. It costs you 3 points on your credit score. Well, let's think about that. If your credit score is already low, 3 points is not going to affect you.
Right.
But if you're at a 700, you never knew that. Well, the difference between 697 and 700 is not going to make a great difference. You're still going to get that same great interest rate. So I just would encourage as many as possible. Anthony and I, we have a closing of a family that's about to close on Thursday, and this young lady and her 3 children, she wanted the house so bad, but she was always afraid. Had conversations for over a year. me and Anthony about to close her on Thursday because when after speaking with her, she finally was like, I'm ready. She got over to Anthony. Credit was higher than what she thought it was. We got her in a good loan situation. She can afford the property that she's purchasing. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, car garage, fenced in, nice subdivision. Never be afraid to at least try. But we have so many people, like, I'm going to be honest, and Anthony can correct me, at least every week, get 7 to 10 different people, 7 to 10 leads. Hey, I'm interested. But a lot of people cut themselves short for the simple fact they can listen to a buddy. Oh, I'm not ready yet. Oh, I need to save up some more money. Well, how do you not know what you already have if you know you got some funds, some assets set aside? How do you know that's not enough? Yeah. Again, we're going to go over the funding first. So before you even sign anything, you're going to know exactly where you stand on the financial side. Now, let's say worst case scenario, you apply with Anthony. Anthony said, hey, listen, credit score a little low. We need X, Y, and Z assets because you're looking for a property in this price range. All right, so now you have a goal to aim for. But a lot of times we have in our mind, and I say we, people in general, man, I need about 15, 20 grand. I need an 800 credit score. Well, these are out of the ballpark. I mean, we haven't run into a claim yet to really needing all of that. And Anthony, again, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't run into one who needed all of that. And we've closed from $150,000 over the $300,000 range. So my point of bringing that up is what the myths that are out there that keep people in fear, you got to start challenging them. But again, if it's something that you know you want for you and your family, it doesn't hurt to try. It's 3 credit points that don't cost you $1. Again, if there's an issue with your credit, let's be honest. 9 times out of 10, we know what we've done to our credit. We know what we need to go back and correct. If we do not, don't worry. Anthony will be the individual to say, hey, you know what? These things are on your credit. And let's talk for a second, because a lot of people do go to different credit repair companies. Now, I'm not here to knock anybody's business, but let's think about this logically. Well, Anthony can tell me if I take care of this or that, he can help me get the loan. Well, that should be the individual I should be reaching out to, because he's the loan originator.
Right.
Anthony can actually tell you, hey, look, if you take care of this, I can see that your points can actually go up because of the system that he has. It enables Anthony to play with your credit score depending upon what's on your credit history. So let's use something as an example so this all makes sense. You had a Macy's bill. You forgot about it. It was $78. You at a 16. Anthony said, hey, look, at a 620, I can get you in this first time home buyers program. We can get you moving forward. Well, you know what? If you make this payment of $56, let's use a larger number, $356. You pay that off. Now we can get you 10 points or 15 points ahead. He's able to do these things because of the system that he has, because of the industry that he's in. He's a mortgage loan originator. And a lot of times, we don't know these things, of the power that we actually have as far as even with realtors. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm able to do to ensure that my client gets the best service. It's a lot of things that Anthony is able to do, and this is how we've been able to be successful. If anyone take a look at the pictures that we have, Anthony and I, back April of 2019, we went to Panera Bread, and both of us were on the same page as far as what we wanted to do with our community, and that's help people get in the home. But we both challenge ourselves to do all that we can. We are able to make some moves that a lot of people aren't able to make, and this is how we're able to close, because we go the extra mile. Even with my situation, I'm a realtor, but I just been blessed with a broker that allows me to move as a broker associate, and some of the things that I'm able to do to make sure that I help an individual secure the property that they're able to afford. Right. So sometimes things come up. We need to make some changes that will benefit. We make those changes, and on an individual basis, we'll detail those things out to help people get across the hump of closing. So I want to just challenge everybody. The dollar amount that you have in your bank account, the credit score that you assume that you have, you really don't know if you can afford a property or not. Remove the fear. at least try. All it's going to cost you is 3 points on your credit score to find out if you can or if you can't. So that's one thing I want to leave to everyone.
All right. Anthony, well, we got one question I wanted before I go back to Anthony. Somebody wants to know if you guys offer consultations to kind of sit down with somebody and see where they're potentially at as far as moving forward to start to buy a home. Is that something you guys offer?
Most definitely.
Okay.
We do face-to-face consultations. I'll do, well, right now with everything going on.
Right.
I'm mostly doing, over the phone, or we can do some Zoom meetings. But typically, I meet most all my clients face-to-face at least once or twice during a transaction. So before they even apply, I've met with clients that I've just met with, put them on the game plan, and never even took an application from them.
Right.
So I'll do that for sure with anyone.
What is the typical? How long does a typical loan process take? I mean, from start to finish, with minimal problems, bumps in the road. What is the time frame on getting pre-approved, finding a home, and closing on that home?
All right, I can have somebody pre-approved in an hour tops, depending on how fast they want to move. When I say how fast they want to move, are they going to complete the application today? Are they going to provide me their loan documents so I can issue a pre-approval out today? That can happen all in, hours. So from that point, from the time they get under contract, we're closing deals. We can close them in 21 days or less.
Man.
A typical transaction, the contract is written up for about 30 days on a standard.
All right.
There's some different programs. I would say USDA probably takes the longest, just because it has to go through a separate underwriter with the USDA. So sometimes those, looking at 35 days, 40 days max.
All right.
But just a easy client, I would say they provided me everything on time. There was no hiccups along the way. Looking at 21 days or less.
All right. That's pretty quick. That's quicker than I would expect. But that's definitely good to hear. You guys have anything else you want to add to the conversation and information? I definitely want you guys to share your numbers, your contact information, so people can reach out to you. I'll definitely, when I share this again on my personal page, I'll be adding you guys, tagging you guys. Actually, I won't put your phone numbers on that. I'll leave that up to you guys to do. But you guys have websites. Put your phone numbers definitely on this. People can contact you. We'll definitely be doing this again, especially when all this COVID-19 stuff is over with. I like to sit down and have you guys face to face, and potentially have some people come in and sit down and ask questions face to face, if that's cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. You guys Anthony, you want to share your contact information just in case somebody wants to reach out or have any questions?
Yep, they can reach me out on my cell phone number. It's 352-408-4645. You can call, text. My email is abill@bayeq.com. And they can call me, text me. My office line is 407-815-2246.
All right. Mr. Monroe?
Yes. My phone number is 813-767-5461. My email is Marcus, Marcus, Monroe, Monroe, the number 1@gmail.com. I'm on all social media, and I'll drop, because my website is pretty lengthy, but I'll make sure that my website is given as well.
Okay. All right, guys. I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time out, man, to talk to me. Hopefully we help somebody tonight. Get out of that fear. I always look at the hashtag you use, Marcus, as invest in self. So I encourage anybody out there to definitely invest in self, step out of fear. And as you said, it only costs you 3 points. So that's a different way to look at it. Definitely some good stuff laid out here tonight, man. And I appreciate you guys. We'll definitely do this again soon. You guys stay safe. I really appreciate it, man. I love you guys, man. Love you guys. Appreciate it.
You too, Sid.
All right, man.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Take it easy.
You too. Thank you.